Hello guys, and welcome once again to Savannah Essence. Today, let me tell you what, I got this beautiful wooden mold. It's not a mold, it's supposed to be used for gardens and those kind of crafts. I got this at China Mall. For those of you in Ghana, you know where I'm talking about. And I looked at it, I said, no, this is a soap mold. It's not anything for the garden. So I bought it just for 20 Ghana cedis. That's less than like $5. And I said, yep, I'm using it to make soap. So let's go. Okay, so we are making a carrot soap. I already have a carrot soap video, so most of you are already familiar. The difference between this one and that one is that the puree here is cooked carrots. So I cooked this carrots and then pureed it. The initial video we made, it was just raw carrots. We blended it and sieved it, but this is cooked carrots, and I prefer the cooked carrots version now, but any of it is good. So that's basically the difference. I'm going to use a portion of the carrot puree to dissolve my lye water, or to dissolve my lye. So I'll mix a bit of the carrots and then with water and then use it. The recipe will be in the description box, so you can have a look at it and try it out. This is a 300-gram oil batch, so you can make it in a smaller batch if you are trying it out to test it out and see. Let me just say that carrot soap is one of our best sellers here at Savannah Essence, and it's also one of the soaps we love to make. It's nice, it's easy, and it's good for the skin, and our customers just love it, so we keep making it. And so that's what we are doing. So now we are just measuring the lye. We measure the water, we are measuring the lye, and then we will use this to dissolve our lye. We'll be dissolving our lye in bits, small by small, because carrots have sugar. We don't want the solution to turn brown. We still want to maintain that nice, beautiful yellow to orange color. And so we are going to be adding the lye bit by bit. You add a little bit and stir it and set it aside, let it cool down a bit, and then come back and then continue to do it. That's how we are going to do this particular one. Now let me also say that when you buy a new mold, there are lots of ways to figure out the quantity of the oils or the total batch that you can put in a mold. So even when you buy a new mold, how do you know, okay, should I use 100-gram oil batch or 300-gram oil batch? There are lots of ways to go about it. In my subsequent videos, so later on in other videos, we will go through how to actually do that. But for this one, I just said, you know what, let me make soap. So when I was making this soap, then I said, I bought this mold, let me use it. And that's how come we came about this one. So these are my butters. I'm using shea butter, only shea butter. That's the only hard butter we are using in this particular recipe. Well, not only shea butter and then palm oil, red palm oil, or what some of you call red palm butter. We call it palm oil in Ghana. So we will add a little bit of the lye again, and also stir it a little bit, and then continue. So I think at this point we already know our soap is made, so I might just skip a bit some of the parts. So I just melted the shea butter a little bit, not too much. So it's relatively still a little bit above room temperature. And so I'm just going to stir it a bit so that it will dissolve or melt the rest of the other shea butter lumps in there. You can opt for that. For carrot soap, I tend to melt the butters, because from my experience, using red palm oil accelerates trace. What that means is that it makes your soap thicken very fast. When I'm making any soap at all, turmeric and honey soap, Shea turmeric soap, any of these soaps, when I'm making them and I'm using red palm oil, I don't stick blend, because palm oil, especially the good one, for Ghanaians, the Zomi, if you use Zomi, it will accelerate trace. So usually I don't like doing the heat transfer with this, because it can mess your soap up. The heat transfer is when you don't melt your butters and you use your lye water to melt it. So for this one, I like to melt them. So I just added the red palm oil to the shea butter, the melted shea butter that is still a little bit warm, and that has melted the red palm oil nicely. And then I'll just set that aside and maybe now keep adding the other oils bit by bit to it, and then, you know, as it goes. For the little bit of the shea butter lumps that are left, those ones, once it comes into contact with the lye and then everything thickens and the soap starts to form, all those ones usually just melt away, and so that's easy to do. So we at this point we'll just measure the rest of our other oils, the liquid oils, and then just add it to our melted butters, and then we just proceed. So this is castor oil, and I think we're using castor oil, we're using you've already seen the shea butter and the red palm oil, and then I think I added a little bit of coconut oil, and then we are using what's the name? We are using palm kernel oil as well. So this is palm kernel oil, nice and beautiful and yellow. It's not this is Ghanaian made cold pressed palm kernel oil that we sell here at Savannah Essence. Clear, easy, smooth. We use it to make our soap. So gradually we're replacing a bit of the coconut oil heavy soaps with our palm kernel oil. We are not replacing, but we are adjusting those recipes to, instead of having, let's say, a 20% coconut oil, we are doing, let's say, a 10% coconut oil, a 10% palm kernel oil, because they have almost the same fatty acid profiles. But palm kernel oil has a little bit of an advantage because it doesn't overly dry you up, and it also doesn't make the soap to finish so fast in the shower. So a good mix of these two oils will give you the lather that you need, and also still stabilize your soap, still give you that hardness you still need, and then it will balance out the other butters that are supposed to help with conditioning and creaming. Did you get that? Okay. So basically that is it. So I'm transferring it into a bigger bucket because the other buckets were a bit smaller for the soap batch. So we now have all our oils ready and everything is ready. Because of the red palm oil, everything looks a bit orangey, and that's really one of the reasons why we like to use this. And for palm oil, I like to use the proper one, the one that we cook with, not the inferior one. So you will see that it gives a very rich look to the soap, and that's what I like. Like I said, once you pour in your lye into your oils and you start making your soap, everything accelerates fast. So I want to just measure my fragrance oil and set it aside, because once I pour the lye water into this oil, it's game time. I have to be so fast, if not it will thicken up right now on you You will not even believe it. So we are pouring all our in there, and then we mix, and then you wait, and then it will take enough. So that's it. So we still had our small shea butter in there that will melt. As you can see, it will start becoming smaller and smaller. And then I'm adding my carrot puree to the mixture now. And like I said, thickened up really fast. Pouring in my fragrance oil for this. Any recipe, I'm just going to say this again, any recipe that you have red palm oil, I'm talking about red palm oil from Ghana. I'm not talking about these other palm oils, refined palm oils, or red palm oil from other places. I don't know, but for Ghanaian properly made palm oil, it will accelerate. You can see this is real time. A little bit of speed in here, but this is real time and everything is already taken up. Before I can get it into the mold, if I'm not fast, it will jack up on me right now. So basically that's how I like to do it. So I've just lined the mold up, and then I'm going to pour. I don't know the quantity that this mold can contain. My hope was that this would have taken around 200 grams. But I realized that this mold, as small as it looked, it took all the 300 gram oil batch. So this mold in total takes around 380 thereabouts grams. And I'm like, oh, it looked so small. But it took all the soap. Every single soap went into this small mold. 3,000 grams. That is 3 kilograms of oil. All of it went into this mold that looks so small. So once this happened and I made this soap, you are sure that next time I go to China Mall, I'm going to, because there were bigger molds than these, I'm going to get like 3 or 4 of them. I just need to calibrate it properly and I'm good to go. And I also need maybe something else to help with the cutting. But you can see the color the red palm oil has given to our soap, and also I think some of it is also from the carrot puree. But this looks really beautiful. This is a nice soap and it's good for all skin types. It's good for people with sensitive skin and people with troubled skin, people with people who just need a better natural soap to sort of get your skin back to where it needs to be. I usually recommend carrot soap, and like I said, it's one of the ones that our customers like. So this is how the soap looks like, and this is all of it in this mold. So this is how far our experiment with the mold has gone. For now, it's easy, it's simple. When we get to the cut part, that's where the real problem will come from. But for now, I was really satisfied at this point. I was really satisfied with the mold and I was impressed with it. Another thing that I should point out is that these ones, the base or the bottom of the molds, they are not so hard like your regular soap molds. So I think it's just a plywood that they used at the base. And so when you are, sort of like hitting it on your table to try and get everything to fit in all the crevices, you should be careful. And then also when you are getting the soap out, you should also be careful because the base of the mold is not that strong. For those of you who are Ghanaians who will be going out to get something as similar to this, that's another thing that I would advise you to look into. Another thing too I would advise is that you get like something like a rubber freezer paper or something you can use to line at the base of the soap, just so that you are able to take it out when eventually you your soap is hardened up and you want to cut. So this is the carrot soap, nice and beautiful. So that's how it looks. It looks beautiful. It looks nice. It looks simple. So the easy part is done. I consider this the easiest part. When it comes to new mold, figuring out how to cut your soap is usually the most difficult part. Another thing I forgot to do was to measure the size of this mold in comparison with my regular soap molds. When I did that, I realized that this is a bit longer. In terms of height, it's longer, comparatively almost double the height of our regular molds, and so that meant that the final cut is going to be problematic, and you will see how I'll struggle. This is where the real struggle comes in using this mold, right? So making the soap, pouring in, everything was easy breezy. It's simple. Getting the soap out, as you can see, that was not a joke. So getting the soap out, although we lined it and everything, but still getting it out, so I had to shake it vigorously before I got it out, which is usually normal with big molds, but that's something you should be looking out for. Then the next thing is, this is the soap. It's big, and I don't have a lock splitter or a lock, yes, something to split this into the various bars that my soap cutter can cut. So that immediately became a problem, because I now started asking myself, how am I cutting this soap in such a way that the size are the standard bar soaps that my customers are used to. I don't have a lock splitter, so I can't split these into the sizes that I need. And I had an idea that I wanted to use the soap cutter, but immediately I brought the soap cutter, I realized that it was not going to work. So we went with plan B. Plan B was to manually use my knife and split it into locks. Then I realized that in the whole of this my house, I do not have a very long knife. This is the longest knife that I have. So it could cut, it could split it really well, and so we split. The first block was easy to split, so I just wanted to experiment with that, do various experiments with this particular mold, and then see the various options I can get with this. So once we had the first block splitted, then I could use the soap cutter to cut it. Then the next challenge also came up. The next challenge was that height-wise, these bars are so long. They are longer than the regular soaps that we sell here at Savannah Essence. So who am I? My next question was, who am I selling these soaps to? Because they are beautiful and all that, but it's now like a skinny mold. Look at, you see how it is? So this looks beautiful and all, but the concern was, this is not the standard bar soaps that people are used to. These are like long bars of soap, and so which customer is going to be okay using this? And so that was one. So that's experiment number one. This is the kind of bars they produced. So instead of splitting the lock again, I decided to do use another strategy. So I am cutting it and then I'm splitting it into two, because when I use the regular mold, I realized that it's almost double in terms of height, the size of it. So if I cut it into the sizes of the regular bar soaps and then I split that into two, will it give me the size that my soap bars usually are? And when I did that, it looked like it was sort of almost the size of the standard bars. So that was another thing that I noticed, but I decided to add another one and then see. And so this time around, instead of cutting it like the initial one, I did it horizontal. Oh no, this is vertical, and that also I wasn't too impressed. So at this point, it's just experimenting to see which size works, which size doesn't work. How do I configure this and then go around and then know what to do? So at the end of the day, what I realized was that for the next batches of soaps, I don't need to calculate to know the size of this mold. I already know the size of this mold. It takes exactly 3,000 grams or 3 kilograms of oil for the full size. But I do not need the soap to fill it up. I need to calibrate it in such a way that the size of the soap at the end of the day is the same as the standard bar soaps. And to do that, I don't need to fill it up. I need to get it to thirds full. And that way, when it's out and I'm cutting it, in terms of height wise, it's the same as the regular standard bars. And then once I split it with my knife, the soap cutter can cut it into the right sizes. So that was a lesson for this when it comes to the mold. So if you are buying a soap mold, and this is a lesson to beginners, if you're buying a soap mold, buy a smaller one that you can experiment with. Because we sell to wholesalers a lot of the time and we have developed a sort of relationship with them over time, it is easy to explain to them that, oh, I got a new mold, I'm trying it out, so I'm selling these soaps to you maybe at a discounted price, and that will make sense. Or I could just give these out. That's not a problem. But if you're a beginner, you are starting out, you do not want to really joke around with your oils like that. And again, it's also easy to use the length, the height, and the width of your mold. You can measure those ones and multiply it, I think around with 0.4 or something like that, and it's easy to actually just get the actual size of your mold. So that's the lesson for this particular video. It looked like it was a mess, but I had fun doing all these, and at the end of the day, I was just cutting them into smaller pieces. So thank you very much. If you've watched all the way up here, say in the comment sections, we did it. Just write in the comment section, we did it, so that I'll know that you got to this part. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Kindly subscribe, help us if you have not subscribed yet. A lot of you watch but you don't subscribe. If you really subscribe, it will help us. So please do that and like. And then share your comments in the description box. Let us know if you have any questions, any additions, and then we can take it from there. And the small white patches that you also see there are some saturated fats from the palm oil that usually settle once in a while. So that's also another thing about using red palm oil. Once in a while you get the saturated fat sort of settling in here and there, and you get these. It's normal, especially if you use a lot of red palm oil as well. And if it doesn't accelerate, it's easier, but once it thickens quickly, you tend to get some of these. So these are usually expected. Thank you very much, and see you in our next video. Let me know if you like it. Do you really like these bars? Okay, all right.